Hey, it's a Humble Collector here, and today's video we're going to take a look at the two-panel death card of Hans Gramsamer. So without further ado, we're going to get started. So going from the top here, we have a nice photo of Hans, then moving to the text. In Christian remembrance and prayer to the brave warrior Hans Gramsamer, a theology student, Meyerбauer son from Nilling, a Funker, a radio operator at the battalion headquarters in a Gebirgsjäger regiment, who died a heroic death for his fatherland on July 14th, 1941, at the age of 20. Now, before we actually get down into the research, the Meyerбauer son, I'm not 100% sure what that means, because Bauer's son would be farmer's son, so it could be that his family was working a farm called the Meyer farm, or maybe it was a farm they were renting from the Meyer family, but I'm not 100% clear on that. I was actually able to find a casualty record for Hans, though. So Johann was born on December 15th, 1920 in Nilling, and was on the staff of the 2nd Battalion of Infantry Regiment 204, which was part of the 97th Light Infantry Division, better known as its later designation of the 97th Jaeger Division. And he would be killed by an artillery shot to the head northwest of Rewicha, which I could not find on a map, but it should be somewhere near Winniza, based off where the 97th was at the time of his death. And I do have a book on the 97th. It really didn't have anything related to the fighting around the time that Johann was killed. So, unfortunately, not a lot of context to add there. I do also have several other cards for members of the 97th Light Infantry, later Jaeger Division. Josef Gerstel was a Gebirgsschütze in the 16th Company of Infantry Regiment 204 and was killed by a mine at Alexandrovka, Ukraine on October 7th, 1941. Andreas Schur was a Gefreiter in the 13th Company of Infantry Regiment 207 and was killed by a shrapnel strike to the head at Troyetskoye, Russia on January 21st, 1942. Johann Vierbausch was an Unteroffizier and Zugführer in the 3rd Company of Jaeger Regiment 204 and was killed by an artillery hit to the chest at Eye Hill on October 3rd, 1942. Matthaus Krapfel was a Gefreiter in the 5th Company of Jaeger Regiment 204 and was killed by shrapnel strikes to the upper arm, as well as a strike that was stuck in his stomach at Novoginskaya, Russia on October 25th, 1942. Michael Schwasshuber was a Jaeger in the 12th Company of Jaeger Regiment 207 and was killed by a machine gun shot to the chest at Hill 396.8 in Russia on December 1st, 1942. And Alois Meyer was an Unteroffizier in the 14th Company of Jaeger Regiment 204 and was killed by a headshot at Bolskaye Lasoptikta, Ukraine on December 21st, 1943. And moving to the bottom of the card here, you slumber in foreign soil, brought to rest by the hands of a comrade. Bitter, alas, is the pain, but our eyes gaze heavenward where you dwell in eternal bliss, adorned with a hero's crown. For those who die for their people and their homeland inherit the crown from the Lord as their reward. And moving to panel 2 here. So at the top here in the header, we have St. Barbara, you noble bride, body and soul be entrusted to you. And at the very bottom, St. Barbara, patron saint of artillery, stand by us in the hour of death. And St. Barbara's inclusion here is actually kind of interesting because you would think, given the prevalence of artillery and the modern combat of the world wars, that St. Barbara would show up more often. She is actually the patron saint of artillerymen, anybody that works with explosives, if I remember correctly. So the fact that in all my time collecting death cards, I think this is the first time that I've ever seen a backplate for her, is very strange. I don't know if it was just a cultural thing, or maybe she wasn't as well known back then. I'm really not 100% sure, but you'd think we'd see her more often in these kind of military circumstances. But yeah, overall, really interesting card. Always good to have the other members of the unit that we can kind of go through to see how they progress throughout the war. But also in this particular case, having that St. Barbara backplate as well is really interesting. So yeah, overall, I hope you guys all enjoyed the video. Please leave a comment down below. Love hearing from you. Thank you all for watching. Happy collecting, and I'll see you all again very soon.